All right, so you're a chiropractor, and you've probably tried a bunch of different marketing things over the years.
Yeah.
And maybe you've even been burned. You've tried a few firms, spent some money,
Mhm.
and haven't really seen the return on that investment.
Absolutely. It's a common story.
So why even bother, taking a look at another marketing approach,
All right.
especially one like Clinic Growth 360? What makes them so different?
That's what we're going to dive into today.
Mhm.
We've actually gone through a ton of their materials
Oh, yeah,
to try and understand, what they're all about, what they're saying,
for sure.
what their clients are saying, and really get to the bottom of, what makes them tick and whether it's actually something that could be valuable for your practice.
Absolutely. And we've got a lot to go through.
I
We've got
agree.
video testimonials from other chiropractors.
Yeah.
We've got internal documents from Clinic Growth 360 themselves talking about the problems that they're trying to solve for chiropractors like yourself. We've got their value propositions. They're promising
And promises.
audio recordings and a bunch of their marketing material.
A whole lot of stuff.
So let's just jump right into it.
Let's do it.
So right off the bat, we're talking about marketing and chiropractors. And I think one thing that we all know is that it can be kind of
Oh, it's a noisy space?
a noisy space. Yeah, like you said.
Super noisy.
And especially, one of the things that Dr. Ken Adams mentioned was this idea of a race to the bottom,
Uh-huh.
especially with things like those generic chiro ads.
Yes, those are everywhere.
Everyone's seen them. And, it creates this sense of like, well, everyone's just trying to be the cheapest.
Right.
And how do you stand out in that kind of environment?
And does cheap actually get you the patients you want?
Yeah. Are you attracting the right people?
Right.
If you're just competing on price.
Exactly.
And that's something that Dr. Adams really brought up was his experience with a previous marketing firm that was exactly that. It was expensive, but it was also slow.
They didn't really deliver on their promises, it sounds like.
Yeah. He said no outcomes, after a
Yeah.
few months. And that's a lot of time and money wasted.
Yeah. You're already busy running a practice, seeing patients.
Absolutely.
And if you're investing in marketing, you want to see results.
For sure. And so it's understandable why, someone listening to this might be thinking, okay, I've heard this all before.
Right.
Why is this going to be any different? And actually, we even came across a testimonial that said, if you're that skeptic,
If you're that cynic.
if you're that cynic about trying something new because you've been burned before.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
Exactly. So let's talk about what Clinic Growth 360 claims makes them different.
Let's get into the specifics.
All right. So one of the first things that really stood out was this focus on attracting the right patients.
The right patients, not just any patient.
Yeah, not just filling your schedule with anyone who walks through the door.
Exactly. Because not all patients are created equal.
Right. And they talk about this idea of condition-specific ads.
Uh-huh.
So instead of just putting out a general ad for chiropractic care,
Right. Come to our clinic. We can help you with whatever.
back pain, neck pain, headaches,
Yeah, the whole 9 yards.
they're really targeting people who are searching for specific conditions.
So someone who's searching for, chronic back pain relief
Right. Or sciatica.
or rotator cuff injuries, they're in pain.
Yeah, they're actively looking for a solution.
They're not just browsing Facebook and seeing an ad for a discounted adjustment.
Really, they're motivated.
Right. And that's a huge difference.
And Dr. Adams even mentioned that he noticed the quality of the patients he was getting from Clinic Growth 360 was better. They were more invested in their care. They were actually showing up for appointments.
And that's key because no-show rates are a big problem for a lot of chiropractors.
Oh, yeah, you're losing time. You're losing money.
You're losing momentum.
Right. And Clinic Growth 360 really talks about how their system is designed to address that.
They focus on pre-qualifying leads.
So making sure that the people who are booking appointments are actually serious about getting treatment.
Exactly.
So it's not just about getting people in the door.
Right. It's about getting the right people in the door.
Now, another thing that came up a lot was AI.
AI, artificial intelligence.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of chiropractors, that might sound kind of intimidating.
Yeah, it can sound futuristic and maybe a little bit scary.
Like robots taking over the practice.
Right. But it's not really like that.
So how is Clinic Growth 360 actually using AI in a way that's beneficial for chiropractors?
So one of the main ways they're using AI is for lead nurturing and automatic booking.
Okay, so what does that mean in practice?
So basically they're using conversational AI.
So like a chatbot.
Kind of, but more advanced.
Okay.
It can understand and respond to questions from potential patients.
Like what kind of questions?
Things like, what are your hours? Do you take my insurance? What kind of conditions do you treat?
So it's handling those initial inquiries that would normally take up your staff's time,
Exactly. It frees up your team to focus on more complex tasks.
and it can actually book appointments too.
Yeah, so someone can go online, answer a few questions through the chatbot,
Mhm.
and actually schedule their first appointment without ever talking to a real person.
That's pretty impressive.
It is, and it can really streamline your intake process.
And does it actually work? I mean, do people really feel comfortable booking appointments through a chatbot?
Well, Dr. Adams talked about his experience with it, and he was actually surprised by how well it worked.
Really?
He said most people didn't even realize they were talking to a computer.
Wow.
They thought I was a real person.
That's interesting because I think there's a perception that chatbots can be kind of impersonal.
Yeah, but the technology has come a long way.
And how about those no-show rates we were talking about? Did Dr. Adams see any improvement with the AI?
He did, actually.
Okay.
He said he was only getting about 3 or 4 no-shows a month out of around 40 new patients.
So a significant decrease.
Yeah,
So it sounds like the AI is doing a good job of making sure that the people who are booking appointments are actually committed to showing up.
exactly. It's filtering out those flaky leads who might waste your time.
Now, another thing that Clinic Growth 360 emphasizes is this idea of full funnel conversion tracking.
Uh-huh.
And that sounds kind of technical.
It is a bit, but it's actually a really important concept.
So break it down for me. What does it actually mean?
So it's about tracking the entire journey of a potential patient from the moment they first interact with your marketing,
So from the first time they see an ad or click on a link.
all the way through to becoming a paying patient.
Okay.
So it's not just about generating leads, it's about understanding what happens to those leads and how many of them actually convert into paying customers.
And why is that so important?
Because it allows you to see what's actually working and what's not.
Okay.
So you can optimize your marketing spend and make sure you're investing in the strategies that are actually bringing you results.
So it's not just about vanity metrics, like how many people like your Facebook post.
Right. It's about the bottom line, how many people are actually coming in and paying for your services.
So Clinic Growth 360 has a system for tracking all of this.
They use software that tracks each lead and monitors their progress through the funnel.
And this data is then used to inform their marketing strategies.
Exactly. They're constantly analyzing the data and making adjustments to improve their conversion rates.
So they're not just setting it and forgetting it.
No, they're actively managing the process and making sure it's working as efficiently as possible.
So you've got the right patients coming in. You've got systems in place to make sure they're converting.
Yep.
Now let's talk about money.
Show me the money.
Clinic Growth 360 really emphasizes this concept of high-ticket, long-term patient growth,
Uh-huh.
which feels like a departure from that race-to-the-bottom mentality we were talking about earlier.
Definitely, they're not about discounting your services to attract bargain hunters
They're about attracting patients who are willing to invest in their health.
and who value the expertise that you bring to the table.
And how do they actually do that?
So one of their key strategies is positioning premium treatments like shockwave and cold laser therapy as valuable, clinically effective solutions.
Okay, so we're not just talking about basic chiropractic adjustments here.
Right, we're talking about higher-end services that can command higher fees.
And what kind of revenue are we talking about?
Well, Clinic Growth 360 claims that their clients are seeing $1,000 or more per patient from the initial treatment plan alone.
$1,000.
Yeah, that's significantly higher than the average patient value in chiropractic, which is often around $500.
So potentially double the revenue per patient.
Exactly.
That's a game changer.
It can be, especially if you're struggling to make ends meet or if you want to reinvest in your practice.
And it's not just about the money either.
Right.
These higher-end treatments can also be really beneficial for patients.
Yeah, research suggests that they can lead to faster recovery times and potentially fewer overall visits.
So patients are getting better results, and you're able to see more patients.
Exactly. It's a win-win situation.
Now, Dr. Adams mentioned that he actually uses these modalities as a low-cost offer to introduce patients to his clinic.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he's not necessarily charging $1,000 up front,
Uh-huh.
but he's using it as a way to get people in the door, and then once they've experienced the benefits of these treatments.
They're more likely to opt for ongoing chiropractic care.
Exactly. So it's a gateway to building long-term relationships with patients.
And that's really the key to a sustainable practice.
Right. It's not about chasing one-time discounts. It's about creating loyal patients who come back again and again.
Exactly.
Now, beyond just attracting the right patients and offering high-value services, Clinic Growth 360 also really emphasizes the importance of systems and processes, which I think is something that a lot of chiropractors might overlook.
Yeah, it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day of seeing patients.
And not really think about the bigger picture of how your practice is running. But Clinic Growth 360 really stresses that if you want to grow your practice, you need to have efficient systems in place.
They talk about working on your practice, not just in it.
And that's a really important distinction.
It is, because if you're constantly putting out fires and dealing with inefficiencies,
You're never going to be able to scale your practice.
right, you'll hit a ceiling.
So what kind of systems and processes are we talking about?
Well, it can be anything from optimizing your scheduling
Okay.
to improving your patient communication to streamlining your intake process.
So making sure that everything runs smoothly from the moment a patient first contacts you.
Exactly.
And Clinic Growth 360 provides guidance on all of this.
They do. They have a whole system that they've developed based on their experience working with hundreds of chiropractors.
And they also offer coaching and mentorship.
Yes, they have a team of experienced chiropractors who can provide one-on-one guidance.
Like who?
Well, we heard about Dr. Angelo. He's a successful 7-figure chiropractor who's been working with Clinic Growth 360 for a while.
And he actually coaches other chiropractors.
He does. He helps them implement the Clinic Growth 360 system in their own practices.
And Dr. Adams was really excited about the prospect of having Dr. Angelo share his strategies with his team.
Yeah, he specifically mentions scripting and initial visit strategies.
So it's not just about marketing, it's about the whole patient experience.
Exactly.
And it's about having someone who's been there and done that to guide you.
That's invaluable.
Now, we've talked a lot about what Clinic Growth 360 does, but what are the results?
Right. The proof is in the pudding.
Exactly. So let's talk about some of the testimonials we came across.
Okay.
Well, first of all, we heard from Dr. Allen, who said he saw a $200,000 increase in revenue within a year of working with Greg and having Angelo as his coach.
Wow, $200,000. That's incredible.
It is. And Dr. Jenkins reported 142 new patients in a single month.
That's a lot of new patients.
It is.
It sounds like their system is really working.
And Dr. Jay Shepard was really happy with the honesty and approachability of Greg Viner and Steven Stahl, who are the founders of Clinic Growth 360.
Uh-huh.
And he specifically mentioned that he had previously had some bad experiences with Google AdWords.
So he was understandably skeptical at first.
Yeah, but he was pleasantly surprised by his experience with Clinic Growth 360.
And we also heard from a clinic in Trenton, Ontario, who saw improvements within the first week of working with Clinic Growth 360.
Really?
Yeah, they were getting multiple new patients a week.
That's a great start.
And they were impressed by Greg's responsiveness and his willingness to come up with new ideas.
So it sounds like they're not just following a cookie-cutter approach.
No, they're adapting their strategies to each individual practice.
And Lakeview Chiropractic also had a positive experience with Clinic Growth 360.
They said that Greg and Steve were very attentive and helpful, and they provided them with extra materials to help them maximize their results.
So they're really going above and beyond to support their clients. And another thing that came up a lot in the testimonials was the consistency of the results. Many chiropractors said that they had tried other marketing approaches in the past, but they would often see a spike in new patients at first, and then it would taper off.
Right, it's the dreaded plateau.
But with Clinic Growth 360, they were seeing consistent results month after month.
That's what you want, predictability.
Exactly. You want to be able to rely on your marketing to bring in a steady stream of new patients.
And it sounds like that's what Clinic Growth 360 is delivering.
Now, Dr. Allen also made an interesting point. He said that one of the things he appreciated about Clinic Growth 360 was that he was working directly with the founders of the program. So he wasn't just dealing with some random employee.
It had access to the people who created the system.
And who are passionate about helping chiropractors succeed.
Exactly.
So if you're a chiropractor who's listening to this and you've been burned by marketing firms in the past,
I can see why you might be hesitant.
yeah, I mean, it's understandable.
But it seems like Clinic Growth 360 is offering something different.
It is. They're not just about getting you more patients.
Right.
They're about getting you the right patients.
The patients who are going to value your services and stick around for the long haul.
Exactly. They're about helping you build a sustainable practice.
And a more fulfilling career.
So the question is it worth taking a closer look?
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, based on everything we've seen,
The testimonials, the system they've developed,
it seems like they're really onto something.
they are...
So if you're tired of the marketing merry-go-round and you're ready to build a practice that's both profitable and fulfilling,
I think Clinic Growth 360 is worth considering.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time.
See ya. Bye.